Hello! Hello! We're back. We're back. We're back in the world. Hello! Hello! I'm Will Awake. Thank you so much for joining me for this stream. This is going to be very fun. It's going to be very fun. And let's get the real me in there as well. Hey, there I am. Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for coming back. Thanks so much for coming back. I really do appreciate it. I think that we're going to have some fun. And I hope that that dramatic intro music was suitably exciting. Here we are. We're back in the spaceship base where we like to start these days off often because it's kind of where we live now, which is pretty exciting, honestly. It's been such an ongoing, long process to move everything in here to like really start to buy in and turn it into the place that we like are really gonna live and keep all our items long term. So it's exciting. It's exciting that we're making it happen. But here we are. And thank you again for joining me. We did some cool stuff last week, which we can look at some of that. I've done a little bit in the time between then and now. Not a ton, just some cleanup, some little things which I can show off. And I think it's the moment where we can transition into the more chill music. All right, here we go. Welcome. All right, so welcome back. Some updates, I suppose, first and foremost. I mentioned last week that I'm working on a castle tour video. That's still true. I'm hard at work. What's up, Glue? Good to see you. Good evening. I'm working on a castle tour video. I know I said that last week. It's still true. I'm hoping to get it done this weekend, most likely. So stay tuned for that. Aiming to get it out next week sometime. And hopefully that'll be fun. So stay tuned. Other than that, we got some cool stuff that we want to do around here. Or I guess not, not in the spaceship necessarily, but we got some stuff that we got planned for today. One thing worth mentioning, actually, I can feel, I think, that my render distance is way too high. I don't know. Oh, no, it's fine, actually. All right, I'm wrong. I see your shorts in my recommended, and a lot of them were you answering my questions. Nice to see I've made my mark in this world. You really have. Hey, I always appreciate the questions. You know, I always appreciate an opportunity to share my thoughts on something. And I'm glad to know that you've seen those and felt kind of seen by them. So I mentioned last time we were here that I wanted to try putting these boats out because apparently you can catch Enderman in boats now. And clearly it's true. I put out all the boats last time in the hopes that we'd catch some. And in fact, we have. The thing that I didn't necessarily know last time, and I do know now, is that they won't stay there. Like, they will despawn. So if I fly away a little bit and then fly back, I think those guys will all be gone pretty much. Yeah, so they don't stick around if they despawn normally, which is fine. But I think maybe if we name tag them, they might stick around. So I do kind of want to try that before we leave the spaceship. But we gotta wait. We gotta get one of these guys in a boat again. Come on. I shouldn't have flown away. All right, well, in the meantime, I'll go grab a name tag. I'm pretty sure I have some right over here somewhere. I think I have some name tags in my utility box. And indeed, I do. So we'll just try with one. I have an anvil here. And we'll name this guy... We'll just name them Technician. Hopefully I spelled that correctly. Oh, and there goes my anvil. Well, I guess we should fix that. And how do we build an anvil? How do you make an anvil? With iron. I have a bunch of iron in here. Yes, I do. Excellent. Grab some of that. Nice to have all my minerals on hand. All right, let's throw another anvil down. Nice. All right. Back into the ender chest they go. And did we catch anybody? Come on. Somebody get in a boat. Somebody get in a boat. I'm going to give it like a minute. And if nobody gets in a boat, I'm going to bail. Because it's not worth just waiting around for this experiment. Come on. Get in a boat. I wonder if I like aggro them. I'm not wearing my pumpkin head at the moment, which is a little bit of a risky thing to be doing in here. Like, can I aggro this guy and have him run towards me? Hello. Oh. Oh god. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. I'm scared. I'm scared. All right, that's it. I'm bailing. Pumpkin head back on. Let's get out of here. Whoa, that was crazy. With their fear of water, you'd think they'd love boats. True. True. That is a great point. Okay, that was a little crazy. We'll just give everything a chance to load in here. I feel like it might be a little laggier than usual today, but maybe I'm just imagining things. Oh, I forgot I was trying to replenish my lava that I used to make the moss farm last time, so I should do that. We got this nice little lava bucket right here, we have a dripping stalactite with lava above it that drips lava in here, and slowly over time it fills up, which is a nice little feature that they added to let lava be renewable, which is kind of huge. All right, let us pop this away because we aren't going to need this lava right now. I don't know where this goes, doesn't really matter. I guess I'll leave the technician name tag behind for now. So, a couple things I want to do today and want to look at. Your frames dropped to like 15 for 3 seconds. I don't know if it's a streaming issue. I think that may have just been this base loading in, hopefully. It feels pretty smooth to me now, so hopefully it still looks smooth, or it looks smooth to you, but let me know if there's still frame drop issues. I appreciate you mentioning them. I was messing with my settings a little bit, so there's always possibilities for weirdness. Cool. So where are we going? I want to go out to the industrial area because that's what we did last time, and that's what I want to start by looking at. Here we are. The industrial area. Big plans for this area, and I want to start talking about them today. That's kind of the goal for tonight's stream. It might not be a super long one. I got kind of a late start. Also, happy belated St. Paddy's Day. I did not stream yesterday because we were celebrating St. Paddy's Day. But here I am, nonetheless. But here we are in the industrial area, and this is like, oh man, I have so many ideas for this, and I think it's time to start acting on them. And putting in this moss farm really kind of inspired me to do more in this area. So first, let's look at this and see what we did last time. Is that SpongeBob still standing? The SpongeBob is definitely still standing. The thing is, the SpongeBob, I don't want to tear the SpongeBob down because it's hollow, and my friend who also plays in this world sometimes made a little celebration inside the SpongeBob for me when I crossed some threshold of hours played in this world. So it's a little bit sentimental now, and there's a little bit of a thing going on inside, just with some balloons and things. So I think I need to figure out how to, either I need to just completely tear it down and move it block for block somewhere much further away, or I got to figure out some very clever way to hide it, but that might be kind of tricky. Okay, cool. So this thing is crafting bone meal, which is great. I love the shape and the shape and the cutout of the industrial area fence, literally a Tetris piece. Yeah, I really like that. I like this area because I wanted to make sure that it was totally mob proof. So there's just a basic wall going around most of the outside, but in the parts that actually touch the mainland, or whatever you want to call it, I built this fence, which I think looks pretty cool. It's kind of like a, it's like a chain link fence or a barbed wire fence or something. But I wanted to be able to get in and out of here relatively easily, but I didn't want mobs to be able to get in. And I guess I've always assumed that mobs won't jump through here, though maybe theoretically it's possible. No, but I think they don't, because it's technically like, right, like this isn't a full block space. This is half of a iron bars here, and this is half of an iron bars here. So I don't think mobs will jump through there. Oh, hello. You want to test my theory? But no, I don't think they'll jump through here. But I can still fit easily, which is nice. So it's a nice way to like jump through the hole in the fence, I didn't know about the party room. I just thought there was some giant SpongeBob statue out there. Yeah, I don't think I've talked about it on stream or in videos or anything. It was kind of just like a nice thing that my friend did. But for that reason, it's like, oh, the SpongeBob, which is really kind of, it ruins the vibe sometimes. But there is some sentimentality to it. So I think I got to think of a more creative solution, I think. But yeah, so here's the moss farm. This is the moss farm. Oops, wrong button. This is the moss farm that we built last stream, and it's working and it's awesome. We have slots for all the different types of like moss related stuff, including the azalea bushes. We have the pale moss carpets. And of course we have bone blocks, which are probably what I'll use this for more than anything. But I made a couple changes just to make it easier to use. Since the last stream, I made some changes. So, but one is just like, I made it so that the on-off switch is controlled from down here now. So those two different clocks that we had, the one controlling the stone generator and the one controlling the like bone mealing and kind of the farm itself, are now just both enabled or disabled, ouch, by this torch tower, which is kind of ridiculous, but it works. And then I just have, long redstone line all the way to here so that I can just come and stand in the middle. And just like how I can turn on the gold farm with this lever and not have to go over there, I can do the same thing here to turn this one on. And similarly, because this farm has two modes, right? It could either be making moss and, or pale moss and like the things associated with those, or it can be making bone meal. I did another line to this torch tower here, which enables or disables the composting of all the stuff that you get out of it. So right now, by default, it's kind of in composting mode. But if I wanted to, I could hit this lever and actually get the moss and the moss carpets, or the pale moss and pale moss carpets. One thing worth mentioning is that I do still have to go up here and manually change it from moss to pale moss if I ever want to do that. But hopefully we can see it working. Yeah, working perfectly. Super cool. You can see the water's pushing all the stuff in the middle. It's all getting collected. Up here is where I can put bone blocks. The bone blocks go in here. They pop in this crafter, and then they get crafted into bone meal. So that's pretty easy. The one thing that I was thinking about doing, and I might try to do like right now, is I don't have a, like, even though this thing produces bone blocks, and it actually produces way more than it needs, which is good, I do have to manually grab them and bring them up here right now. So I think it could be nice to just have a very simple little water stream elevator thing that can just take any bone blocks down there and put them all up here. So I think I want to do that. But you can see we should be getting like bone blocks and stuff right now. We should see one come in any second. And away we go. Nice. Whereas if I flip this lever, then it stops doing the composting. You can hear the sound of the composting stopped. Hopefully you can hear that, or not hear it, I guess. And then we should be getting now like moss and stuff. In theory. Unless it doesn't work. But it should. What happened? Okay, it does look like there's stuff flowing. Okay, there's a lot of stuff flowing in. There must have just been some bone blocks in the... Why aren't they coming in here? We have a mystery to solve. Item filter. Oh, the item filter is... This is full. That's weird. Why is that not working? We're troubleshooting live. Like watching Da Vinci making the Mona Lisa and seeing the complete thing. I highly appreciate that very charitable comparison. Aha! Well, I immediately see the problem. We're missing a crucial piece of redstone dust here. I'm glad that it's not something more complicated than that. So we'll just grab a redstone dust. That right there. Hopefully this will now start working. Nice. Cool. Cool, cool, cool. Let's put that away. Clean as you go, as they say. Okay, so let's just break the scaffolding that I don't need anymore. And we should see all the moss going into here now. Lovely. Perfect. Okay, so I can turn that mode off. And I guess I'll sleep while I'm here. Does redstone just disappear like that? It shouldn't. I think if I had to guess what happened, I must have just broken it accidentally when I was like trying to fix some other issue or something. Or maybe when I was breaking scaffolding or something to clean stuff up. The other thing that I can think is like maybe I accidentally spilled some water out at some point because water could wash away redstone, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm not going to worry too much about it unless it happens again or something. Cool. Now we're composting again. Wow, it's amazing how much this thing produces. It's actually crazy. All right, I don't really need this running. What I do want to do, I think, is that like switch thing that I mentioned, because it would be kind of nice to be able to just like push a button or flip a lever or something and have all the bone blocks that are in here just go back up into it. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's worth it because it is like not that hard to just grab them and go up there. Also, there's all this junk under here, which I probably want to tear out eventually, but I'm not sure I'm ready to tear it out yet. So maybe I'll postpone that idea. But you can see, well, we just come up here, put the bone blocks in here. I think we have to push this one time to kind of get it going, but then it should start just auto crafting all of them into blocks. You can see it dumps 9 in here, and then they go away, and then as soon as they're gone, the next 9 come, and so on. And so we have plenty of bone meal in here. Oh, nice. These are getting pretty full. Cool. So that is that done, which is very exciting. The other thing that I wanted to do while we're here is kind of think about what we want this area to look like longer term. Because right now, this whole industrial area is just... I kind of had the idea that this would be a place that just had a bunch of massive cobblestone, redstone contraptions that like didn't need any decoration ultimately, but it's kind of like the SpongeBob issue where when I first started playing in this realms had very limited render distance and you couldn't see very far into the distance. And now like I have my render distance set to 50 chunks and like we clearly can see those from all the way back here, right? Like it's not some distant land, it's right there. So I think it does make sense to try and incorporate it a little bit more into the surrounding landscape. And I did that a little bit with the fence. And you can see I like, over on this side especially, I've done like a little bit of blending in the sense that like, there's some gravel, there's maybe some stone coming out just to try and blend the floor in a little bit, right? Like just to make it seem not totally crazy that there's this giant stone square here. But ultimately, I think I want to blend it in more. And by that, I mean, I want to do something in there that fits in and looks cool. Have you ever tried Terraria? I did a couple of days ago and had no idea what I was doing. I've never played Terraria. I hear that people who like Minecraft like Terraria, so I'm sure that I would enjoy it. I'll be honest, like from what I've seen, this kind of side-scrolling 2D aesthetic of it isn't normally the kind of thing that I would go for or like gravitate towards, but I'm sure that it's amazing. Like I know that if I started playing it, I would probably get totally sucked in and not even think about that anymore. But I also, I don't know how much room I have in my in my soul for big sandbox games. Like Minecraft might be the the one for me, but I'll probably try it at some point. Yeah, so I want to talk more about industrial area plans, but there's one little chore that I want to get done first. And I think that this will actually be kind of a fun chore because over here is I don't really know what you want to call it. It's kind of, you can see we have like a hot air balloon that's under construction here, which kind of is meant to mirror the hot air balloon style of the one up there. Again, stay tuned for the castle tour. You'll get a close-up of that. I think 3D crafting survival games might be better than 2D ones. The 2D ones seem limited away. Yeah, that's kind of what I think when I see screenshots or videos of it. But, I'm sure that it makes up for the limitations with other really creative things. So I definitely don't want this to be taken as like any kind of anti-Terraria stuff. Like I'm sure that it's great, and I'm sure that I could easily see a world where I would get totally sucked into it. But so this place is the I kind of call it the hangar sometimes. Like you can come here from like this part of the castle, you can come out here and walk up there, and you can see we have like a crane that's like holding some kind of, I don't know, cargo there. We've got like a bunch of rail lines and stuff. You can walk along here. There's the wall, the back wall of the castle. We have our invading pirate ship there. And the reason that this structure exists at all is because it's secretly, technically, a villager breeder. Oh, there's a villager. I don't think you're supposed to be out there, buddy. But this thing is probably not really working right now. I haven't needed new villagers in a while, so I just kind of blocked them all in. But they're in there. There's like a bunch of villagers in there, and then there's like a water stream that takes the villagers down to my villager trading hall. And I had originally thought that this little landing right here would be like a place where I could, no, don't look at that lava. A place where I could come and like choose their trades and stuff and like then send them on their way to make sure I had the best trades and stuff. Right now, they all just come down this water stream and end up right there, which is a little bit sad. I was expecting many things, but not a villager breeder. Yeah, that's like one of the earliest things that I built in this world, actually. It used to just be a giant cobblestone box, and eventually I decided to put this structure around it. And I think it looks pretty cool. But there's more that I want to do here. Like, I kind of like the idea of having another hot air balloon, like right here, that's maybe heading out to try and stop the pirates or something. And like having, a plank or gangway or whatever you want to call them that leads up to the hot air balloon or something like that. More just life up here. It's pretty flat and dead right now. But the thing that it does have, which is a very exciting thing, is as cool as this decorative crane is, this is also a roller coaster. And I know that, like Glue, I know you've seen the roller coaster before at some point, but the roller coaster is the coolest thing in this area by far, but I think it's kind of broken right now. So I want to give it a ride and see if there are any issues, and if there are, just kind of fix them along the way. So that's going to be our first chore for today, and it's kind of a fun one because it's just going to be ride a roller coaster and keep riding it until it finishes all the way and doesn't just like break. When was the last time you've ever died in this world? Because it seems like you've had it forever. I die in this world a lot. I don't know if I can look up like statistics on that. Like maybe it's possible somehow. But no, I die a lot. And yeah. If like, I think the video that I have coming out soon, I die in. My last video I died in. I die a lot. Roller coaster maintenance, let's go. Yeah, we're doing roller coaster maintenance today. Exactly. So I got some rails, I got some powered rails, some dust just in case I need it, some block, redstone and levers. Hopefully I can hopefully this is all I might need if there's little issues. There's like one part in particular that I'm kind of anticipating being a challenge, but we'll see. I also need another crafting bench, so let me make that. Cool. All right, we'll put our wood away. This goes there. And then let's ride this thing. So this is it, the backyard bard attack. There is no wait at the moment, which is nice, so we can hop right on. And here we go. Woo! Ah! And it immediately goes back under here. We got this little loop-de-loop thing. And then we head this way, and you can see the ship there. Pretty cool. It's also going to be sunset, which is probably a good time to ride the roller coaster. But then this heads down into this spooky dungeon place, which is pretty cool. Again, you'll get another. There's a little glimpse of that if in the world tour video, or in the castle tour video, which I'll put out next week. So get excited for that. Oh, and then wait, where's this going? Where am I going? What is this place? Wow. There's a giant cavern underneath the castle. But then we head out here. So far, so good. This is all working pretty well. Fun. Nice. And this goes around here. We got a nice view of the ship again. This comes around. Jump onto the thing that the crane is holding. Woo! Nice. And land down here. I really like this roller coaster. It's huge. It's very long. Like there's a lot of different parts. But I had a lot of fun working on it, and it's fun to ride sometimes. And now we go down here. Wah! Wah! Okay. Nice. Some explosions. That's exciting. Nice little TNT jump scare there. We follow this minecart here. Oh, not going the same way as that one. Oh gosh, who's this guy? Is he getting us? Oh, no, just another little jump scare there. Nice. All these little features and attractions are something that I had a lot of fun with. And yeah, just this little unfinished area. I guess not, Oh, that guy's not supposed to be facing the wall, but what can you do? Back up here. And then out onto the bridge. And oh no, wait, is the bridge out? Is the bridge out? Oh no! Oh no! Ah! Just kidding, it's more roller coaster. And now this part I think might break. Yes, okay, yep, it did. Well, that was exactly the spot that I thought was gonna have a problem. So let's try and fix this. And I think that the thing to do, so we kind of landed like right here. So I think the thing to do is maybe just change this weird curve and just have it go this way. And hopefully that will solve our problem. But I think I want to sleep, otherwise I'm going to get attacked from all angles by monsters. So let's try and deal with that while we can. Is there anywhere where I can put a bed down? All right, don't tell anybody I'm breaking this grass. I see 2 creepers immediately. Okay, I gotta be careful. Is the chest cart scripted? How'd you do that? Basically, there's, I think there's at one point the minecart goes over a detector rail, which triggers a little redstone to release the other minecart to go right in front of you. And then similarly, there's like a detector rail that triggers the little zombie to come around and pass right by, but not quite hit you. I had a lot of fun with that section. I was trying to channel like, real, like, I don't know, those kinds of like rides at Disney World or at an amusement park or wherever, where like you're kind of just going through an area, but there's some like scripted events that come out, that make it more interesting. Okay, so let's fix this. And I think the way we can fix this is just let's break this kelp here. And then I'll just replace this bit with some more of these powered rails here. That there, and then I'm not sure how many of these we need. I think I want to put one here at least, and I'm going to have to power that, which is always the most annoying thing. Powering these rails underwater is slightly annoying. You have to like sneak a lever in there somehow. Yeah, the Blair Witch zombie was a treat. I was thinking the same thing. That's so funny. The Blair Witch zombie. I know, it's like, that part's like kind of unintentionally a little creepy like that. Okay, so I think I can just, this shouldn't be too bad actually. I think I can just put a lever right here to power this rail. And then I'll put this diorite back. And then just for good measure, did I get any of that kelp? Yeah, let's put some of that kelp back in like so. Okay, let's test this. And I think to test it, I should probably go back to the fall, because these mine carts they're a little finicky. And sometimes like, if you don't have the exact same acceleration that you had at a different part, it will behave a little bit differently. Now, the rain I'm not loving the rain. And unfortunately, it's morning. So I guess there's not much we can do. But we're going to be underwater. So here we go. All right. So if I go down here, this should... Okay, that didn't even work at all. So clearly, I need to go back a bit further in the ride. Okay, so let's see. Ow. If I go, let's go to this part. We're going all the way back down here. Okay, we'll go here. All right, so we ride this up. Here we go. Woo! Up here, nice. This is where there's the broken bridge fake out. You fall back down. Land perfectly, nice. And now hopefully we'll continue on our merry way this time after we pop out of the water. Yeah, so we pop out. Wow, cool. And then, nice, we keep going. And then we pop out again. Nice, and now this time, woo. Back around, nice. This is working well. And now there's the little amethyst geode section. Ooh, lovely, lovely. So nice. And up we go. And now we're going up the water tower, which is really fun. We go up the water tower out. You can see we're spiraling down the side of the water tower like so. And then, do we go straight? No. Oh, we pop into this water trough thing. Here we are going down the water. Do we keep going that way? No, we're back on the track. All right, here we go. Back on the track, down here. Hopefully there's no fish in the way. Cool, this is working also, nice. Just skip across the water there. And now this cave, we come out, we get a beautiful view of the ship. Ooh, yeah, that's nice. And now this part is just dirt. There's more I want to do. I want to build a giant thing there, and I'll talk about that in a second. But it's fun because then you come back and you jump across. Ooh, and this time you make it. And that was where we fell down before, but we made it across this time. Ooh, so satisfying. So satisfying. Back in here, this time we continue into the cave. All the way around here we go. And pop into this little elevator, which is the same one I took I rode up there in the first place, and that's it. Ride again soon. We get a little firework explosion, and that's great. So that actually is working more than I feared it might be. It was really just that one water part, and it seems to be resolved. So sweet. So that's one thing off the to-do list. Spiraling down. I guess, yeah, spiral staircase. I didn't even make the connection. Oh, you're right. Well, this is hereby the official Glue Spirals roller coaster water tower spiral. All right, so that is cool. So that actually is working. And I wish it weren't raining. There's really nothing you can do about that, is there? When it's raining, you just gotta wait till night. But I guess I can talk about this anyway. So this part here, right, where we came down and jumped back across that like bridge thing, this is totally unfinished. It's just a bunch of dirt. And it's been dirt for so long that you could see the grass has actually already spread up here. And I guess it only stopped because it hit a redstone block. So honored. I'm glad. So what I want to do here, I'm not 100% sure, but something that I've been thinking about is like, again, something kind of industrial. I don't want it to be too similar to the water tower. I don't want it to just be like more giant roller coaster scaffolding. Because I think like right now, this does a decent job of not looking that much like a roller coaster if you don't know it is, right? Like it kind of just looks like more industrial stuff over here, right? Like there's this water tower, there's these contraptions and stuff, this fence, and there's something going on over here, but it's not like immediately screaming, I'm a roller coaster. So I don't want this to just be like a big roller coaster loop thing, because I think then it's just too obvious and doesn't really fit the vibe. So I think something else, like something a little bit more factory-like, like something that I've been thinking about is sometimes you see these structures that are like, or these factories that are like gravel and sand processing plants. I don't even know what you call them. But that's kind of what I'm thinking, because it might lend itself to having like different like pathways going up and down, right? Something like that, maybe. So it's kind of like you know, you go up, you come up there, you maybe are traveling on like some conveyor belts and stuff or something along those lines before you finally come out and head along and finish the roller coaster. So that's kind of the one part of the roller coaster that's not done. A giant neon sign, maybe, yeah. Or Greek pillars of doom. Yeah, something like, right, like something that isn't totally out of place, but also looks cool. Can I sleep yet? Man, not yet. Okay, so that's like one thing that I'm thinking about. And that's a big unknown at this point. But the other thing that I've been thinking about just more generally is what to do. And I mentioned this, like what to do with this area. And it's tricky because I don't want any of this to dwarf the water tower. I like having the water tower being like the tallest thing around here. But the other thing that I've been thinking about more lately is just sight lines. And so we really need it to stop raining so I can go look at some potential sight lines. But in the meantime, I'll talk a little bit about what I've kind of been thinking in terms of block palette. So I want to like cover these giant holes. I want to get rid of all this, or at least cover up a lot of this glass, because this is, hello guys. This is just, it's cool if I'm going for a very redstone-y look, but I think I'm ready to move past the very redstone-y look at this point. So I think, broadly speaking, what I'm kind of thinking is having each of these kind of be a building, and I don't really know what to do about this giant thing in the center, but having each of these be a building, and then having them all connected somehow so that this looks a little bit like a, you know, Industrial Revolution era, like factory compound. So you come in through the fence here and, you know, maybe you go through some kind of archway or something, like maybe there's some buildings here, but basically having like each of these components being hidden to some extent in a building that is a little bit aesthetic and matches the specific item being crafted there too. So like, I'm generally thinking brick buildings. which is a challenging block to build out of because bricks are pretty expensive. Can I sleep yet? Yes. Okay. I think I can finally sleep. I need to get rid of this rain. It's driving me crazy. Oh, the guys are too close. I guess there were a bunch of beds right next to me too. I didn't really need to use my portable one. But yeah, okay. Ooh, finally. Okay, so I want to like look at some potential sight lines for this area and start to think about them. And I want to kind of do it like a little bit thoughtfully, where I actually have a few specific sight lines that I'm thinking about when I start building this area. And because this is going to be a huge project, I'm going to have to kind of mock out all the areas where I want these buildings to be, and then, you know, actually build them, make them look good. Like it's going to be a challenge. So what I want to do is grab some armor stands for each of my sight lines, and I'm just going to put a little dude at each of the areas that I want to be considering the sight lines from so that I don't forget. And I think the best way to do that is to just grab a bunch of leather and make some leather armor for all these guys. I'll just bring the leather and make it on the go probably. And if I were being really creative, I would also put like a spyglass in each of their hands. So let's do it. Why not? Go big or go home, right? What do you need to make a spyglass? It's this and copper? Amethyst and copper? I think so. How close exactly is your castle spawn, world spawn? It's pretty close. I can show you where world spawn is. Are these stackable? No. Okay, good to know. Yeah, so here's the front door of the castle, basically. World spawn is over here. It's like this little area right here. And so from here, you can just barely, at 50 blocks or 50 chunk render distance, you can just barely see the castle. So it's not too far. Never mind this giant SpongeBob. It's not too far, but it's nicely, you know, it's far enough away that there's a little bit of a walk when I die and hadn't slept anywhere, which is kind of nice because it's a reset. It's like, okay, I get to just get back to the castle and regroup. That explains the path. Yeah, I like having paths. I want to do more paths. This is another path right here that I want to finish. You can see I just have torch spam right now. But this path leads also from world spawn. There's like a fork in the road, and you can take it this way. And if you go this way, there's this giant nether portal, which I call the world gate. Oh, and my mouse just disconnected for a second there. But we have the world gate here. And then from there, like, you know, this is a trade route, right? Like the idea is we're trading with piglins in the nether through that world gate. So we're taking the stuff that they give us, like obsidian and crying obsidian and blackstone and stuff, and we're bringing that out, but then we're sending in the things that they want, which, thank you to this driver friend here. You can see we're sending them a bunch of gold because that's what the piglins want. So that goes that way and the stuff comes back. All just good fun, of course, but never mind the giant ominous SpongeBob silhouette. But yeah, this path I haven't really finished. Like I just have this torch spam here, which is not ideal. But the idea is if you continue along here, it leads into the industrial area, which kind of makes sense if you think about it as being a trade route of some sort. And you can see I started to do a little bit of the detailing here to try and make it seem like, you know, there's maybe wagons going through here that are pressing down the mud a bit more in certain areas, and you know, maybe there's been some damage along here or something. But basically this just all comes and arrives here. And this is, you know, where maybe we're chopping down trees. We've got some trees in, oh, a pig. You know, we got some trees that we're chopping down. Pig, you're kind of in the way of my demonstration at the moment. You can just go stand over there. You can see, right, like, we've got an axe and a log here as we're chopping down a tree to load it into a cart. We've got this other cart here that has a bunch of tree trunks on it for whatever reason. That's too little gold for all that obsidian. You need to pay them more. Hey, they're very, you know, their prices are good. So yeah, so let's start to set up some of those sightlines. And I think, you know, one of the most important ones, obviously, is the one from right out this door. Right here is a very important sightline for the industrial area. And right now it's not great. Like it's not terrible, but let's set up a little guy here. And, you know, my armor stands are invisible, which is going to make this a little bit more challenging maybe. But in theory, I can place something there. And let's get out a crafting bench. I'm going to make just some basic leather armor to throw on this guy. And here is my first sightline reminder guy. And let's find a good pose. I wish I could actually have him looking through the thing. All right, let's do that one. Yeah, so here's one, right? Right, this is an area that we want to be thinking about. And this he's very brown, he's very leathery, but that's okay. So this is an area that I want to improve the sightlines of, and I want to be very thoughtful as I'm building anything in the industrial area here about how it looks from this sightline, because probably like 9 times out of 10, if I'm coming out here, I'm just going to be running out this way, and I want to make sure that this is one of the best views possible of the industrial area. Similarly, that other entrance that I came out before up here, this is kind of more from this part of the castle. Again, stay tuned for the tour. But this is another view that's really important. And this is like, yeah, this is a huge one. So let me put a guy here. Let's just throw down a fella. And pants and boots and spyglass, and we'll put them into this pose. Right, so here's another one where this sightline is really important. There's kind of the ship right there, which honestly, like this fence might be kind of blocking the sightline of the ship. I might actually even want to kind of cut down this little bit of the cliff here so that it's more, I can see the ship more clearly. Or, you know, maybe I want it to be more of a reveal when you come around. But that's the stuff that I want to be thinking about more. I just want to be a little bit more intentional about the sightlines as I'm deciding to build something huge that I'm going to look at all the time. But like right here, you know, this view also, it's got to look really cool. The other thing that I struggle with a little bit from this view is the crane, like whatever that thing that the crane is holding, it kind of disappears into the background a little bit. So I might need to replace that with something that stands out a little bit more. Like maybe just like some kind of dark stone, like tough, or something that doesn't blend so much right into the water tower. So that's kind of, again, like these are the things I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about these sightlines. I think this thing also is kind of sticking up too much a little bit, maybe. So that's another thing I want to think about. Okay, so here, there's guy number 2. Where is our next important sightline? I think, honestly, it might be from the ship itself. So I think when you're on the ship, which, while we're here, let's have a little fun. We can attack the mainland with our cannons, and these all work. Those are just fire charges, but I'm very proud of this tiny little cannon design that actually works and has a tiny little clock hidden to shoot fireballs out at the mainland. But anyway, from here, let's see. We can't really see much. Yeah, you can't really see much from the deck. But I think that like, you know, having some kind of a crow's nest or something, like this view is another important one. And it doesn't change too much depending where you are on the ship, so it doesn't matter a ton. But this is another thing where it's like, okay, I need to make sure that, so the water tower is very like visible right there. I want to make sure that whatever I build here doesn't totally cover up or steal all the focus from this area back here. And I also want to make sure that whatever I do cover these farms with stands out well enough against, you know, the water tower, against whatever's here, against whatever's here. So for that reason, again, I'm kind of thinking like bricks, like it's like orangey brown color, you know, not quite this brown, like more orange, more yellow, not yellow, but like more reddish, because I think that that will really stand it or set it apart from everything else in this area. And honestly, kind of from everything else that I have done in this world. And I need to sleep again. So let me sleep in the top sails of my ship here real quick. The ship specifically gives off old 2015 Minecraft vibes. I don't know why. Yeah, that's interesting. The ship is one of the few things in this world, honestly, that is it is directly a model of a ship that we found, that we thought looked really cool, that we put in this world. And really, actually, these blocks were painstakingly placed by my a friend who plays in this world too. And I think it's just, you know, sometimes you just can't you can't beat to perfection. And like that is, I mean, it's such a cool looking ship. There's a lot of detailing that we can still do. I think like this model was probably designed when like there weren't as many textures and stuff. So like, you know, this is all just gray wool and like white concrete for the sails and all that. But I made these little like dinghy things, like these little mini boats that are coming out off of the ship. And I tried to make them match the color scheme pretty closely. But you can see I used whatever these are, deep slate tiles for this. And I think it matches nicely. And like, I think having that be all tile would be too noisy probably, but I think for this small scale, it works pretty well. And like the masts are cobblestone, just like the masts on that boat. And then I did my little pirate flag here. And I think it comes together pretty nicely. It kind of, you know, it lends towards the belief that the people on these little boats are the same people who are coming on that ship. And the secret is that the pirates are zombified piglins who are coming to invade, who maybe at some point escaped through the world gate, but didn't know that they would become zombified. Who knows? You know, there's plenty of opportunities for fun lore there. Do you think the villagers were the ones on those shipwreck structures more player-like character? I guess I kind of just answered that, but yeah, I think the lore here is that the pirates who are invading are zombified piglins. And there is a little bit of a fun mini game thing that I can do here. We'll see if it works. A lot of this stuff, like we built so long ago that some of it doesn't always work, but this is like, you can imagine that, you know, maybe another one of their ships, they docked here and have been taking it apart and building tents and things. And this is where they camp out. And there's a little bit of a mini game here, which let's see if it is going to work. Are there any? Unfortunately, I need flints and steel in there, and I don't think I have what I need for that. But maybe I do. Let's see. Do I have flint in here? Yes. Awesome. And I have steel, or at least iron. Sweet. Okay, so let's stock this thing up and give it a little demonstration, because this is kind of a fun thing. I'll just make that many of those. Okay, let's throw some of these in there. And now, let me grab this stuff because I'm actually going to have to kind of cut and run. So let's see. If I grab this stuff, in theory, this will still work. So I guess I actually forgot I have this guy here. So I'll grab my bow out of here because that's what I need. And then I'll turn on the experience. And so when I turn this on, you can hear the obnoxious sound. But what this is doing is spawning a bunch of these guys. You know, and like maybe you're not really supposed to look in here, whatever, what have you. But the idea is that they'll spawn and they'll fall into this little thing right here, which is technically a little trident killer. And so now I'll just get a few of them going. So basically the idea is, okay, you leave that running or whatever. Maybe if the sound it wasn't going, it wouldn't be quite so annoying. But we leave that thing running and then we turn it off. And as soon as anyone steps on this pressure plate, including that guy who's standing on it right there, the trident killer is going to hit them and they're all going to become aggressive to me. And then they're going to chase me towards the castle. So let's see if it works. Oh, is someone coming out? As soon as one of them walks out, they'll all start running towards me, which will be terrifying. Or I could go step on it and it's like, oh, hey guys. Oh no! Here they come! Here they all come! They're after me! They're chasing me! I gotta run! But what I can do is as I'm running from them, I can shoot these hidden target blocks here. Oh! Which throws the TNT! Which takes them out! Oh! Well, it didn't really take them out. But the idea is you'd want to blow up the bridge before they get to it so that they don't invade. But that's kind of the thing. It's like a little mini game. Not really even a mini game, just a thing you could do. But I like having little things you can do all throughout this world. That's kind of the fun of it. And then, of course, you can repair the bridge. I said repair weird there. You can repair the bridge. And those guys will despawn, which is fine. But yeah, so that's the little pirate invasion minigame thing. What would be really fun is if I could get like, I think there's probably some way to use like a leather helmet that's been like dyed black, maybe even trimmed with something to look like a pirate hat. And I think it probably isn't feasible to have these guys decked out in those, but like having some of them on the ship that are like name tagged or whatever, that have like little pirate hats on, will potentially tie some of this together, which could be kind of fun, I think. But we were doing sightline stuff, so let us go back up here, and I think I want to put one of our little sightline guys. I missed it. Oh no. All right, let's land on the sail. Nice. Okay, so this is another sightline that's really important for all the reasons I mentioned. So let's put one of our guys here, just so that we don't forget it, and I'll have him right there. And I guess I need to craft more armor for my little guy, and another one of these. Oh, it's just putting it on me. We want it to go on that. There we go. All right, and there's another one to think about, right? And so this is just going to help me keep track. So, you know, I'll know when I'm building, when I start to do like some wireframing, right? Like some broad strokes outlines of things. I'll be able to come, look at each of these sightline spots and know exactly what is important to me and hopefully not forget any of them. So let's see what else matters. I don't think we really need any more from this side. I think like, yeah, this one here should be good, I think. Yeah, this is going to be a really important one because I'm definitely going to come out of here a fair amount. But I think, yeah, that one over there right by the main storage system entrance, like that's definitely the most important one. And just give me 1 second if you don't mind. All right. And we're back. Okay, so what other sightlines are important? I think we need some more from the ground, probably. So down here, yeah, so this is a can of worms a little bit. But so from this place, from this entrance, you can take the path down to the industrial area, or you can take the path over here. And there are a fair amount of trees in the way. Like, I think this is, I do kind of like this. I don't want to take down any of these trees, really. I kind of like that this path is a little bit more isolated. And in fact, like, I might even want to put like another tree here. Like, I kind of like it being closed off. This path needs a little bit of work too. But basically, this leads over here. And from here, there's a couple other areas of interest. One of them is incredibly not done and barely started, but there's this, which is a giant hole that I dug out where I have, we've got some grand aspirations here, because right in the center down there, right here, that's a spider spawner. And down this giant hole right here, down there, nothing to worry about. Down here is a cave spider spawner. So especially now that they've added the like cobweb potion, I don't know, as I'm sure everyone already knows, there's a new cobweb potion called like, I don't even remember the name of it, but you can like splash a mob with it. And if you then kill the mob, it causes a bunch of spider webs to spawn around them, cobwebs, I guess, in the actual environment. So I have two plans for this area. The one, the big one, or I guess they're both big, let's be real. Ghost Spring would be so proud of that hole in the ground, true. Down here, because there's a cave spider spawner, what I'm thinking is, I mean, I guess I'll just talk through the experience from the start of it. Basically, the idea is, oh, hey, I was just talking about you and your kind. Basically, this would be like a spooky cave. And like you come in here and this path is meant to kind of lay out the general shape of the cavern. But I want this to all be a spooky, spidery cave. And as you come in here, this whole path is designed out perfectly so that the whole time you're walking around here, you're within range of the spawner. So it's spawning spiders and dropping them down into that giant, massive chamber down at the bottom. And so you make it all the way around, and eventually you get into this, it opens up somehow into like this big open area. And here, hopefully by the time you get down here, would be just a gazillion spiders. And so it's a little bit of like a horrifying spider experience, but also this is like probably not fully working, but I had experimented with having like a string farm that you could turn on and off. Let's see if it still works actually. In theory, if I hit this lever, it will, yeah, so it puts water out, and like this water, and then there's a trident killer in here. I guess I would have to throw a trident in there. But the idea is you could come down here and you could somehow turn on the farm if you wanted. And then all the spiders that fall in here will just go in there. You get the string out of them. I'm not really hurting for string, especially because I do have a little hostile mob farm in the like castle itself, right by the base, that gets me all the string I'll ever need probably. But I like the idea of having this be functional as well as just like fun. So if I turn this thing back off, the idea is once you're in here, you fight a bunch of spiders if you want, or you just watch them all go in there. But then like over here, is that the giant hole? Yes. Over here, I want to build like a giant organic sculpture of like a huge spider. And I don't like spiders, for the record. This is me conquering my fears by doing this project. And by doing this project, I mean, maybe I'm not conquering my fears because I dug this hole out like 3 years ago. And I definitely have not continued this project because why am I trying to create a horrifying spider cave? But it's very important for emotional growth. But anyway, the idea is that we could, oh, I almost fell in that hole again. All right. So the idea is you come over here, there's like a giant spider looming over you, which is terrifying, but you could drop down all the way down there if you want. And the idea is this one would be similar in that I'd want the spawner to be loaded or within range for as much time as possible. And the way that I want to do that is with a bunch of cobwebs. So like you fall down there and you get stuck in webs and you're just going down. And there's cave spiders spawning, and this is just like a death trap. Like literally the intention for this is kind of like a fight to the death mini game where you just come down here and you last as long as you can. And there's cave spiders dropping on your head the whole time, and they're also getting splashed with like this new webbed, I think that's what's called, webbed, this like new webbed potion, so that every time you kill a cave spider, more cobwebs appear and you're even more stuck and there's more just things falling in your head. Eventually, inevitably, I think you would just perish in here. And so, you know, I would probably have some kind of like item collection system underneath the floor to get like all of your stuff back and all of the drops and everything. But that's kind of the idea. Like a terrifying spider experience that also maybe gets you some string and is fun and feels cool. So that's the goal. Another huge project that that we have not even, I mean, to be fair, we've done a big chunk of this. I was also waiting for Tough. And by waiting for Tough, I mean, they somewhat recently, though not that recently now, added all of the different like cut Tough variants, like the walls, the slabs, the stones and everything. And Tough is like a perfect texture for the kind of spider cave aesthetic that I want to do. So I think I just got to bite the bullet and do that. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about the industrial area. And I need to sleep. So let me go sleep in one of my industrial area beds. With the Trident Killer, does the Thrown Trident actually stay there forever? So yes, technically, it should stay there forever. And it's the reason you use Trident Killers generally is because a Trident Killer, like a Trident Killer is just a thrown trident that is being pushed around by pistons, and a bunch of mobs fall in and they get blended to smithereens. And the reason that you do that is because they count as like player kills, in the sense that if you have a looting sword, you can, it's kind of like a weird quirk, and I really hope they don't remove it. Please don't remove it, Mojang, please. But you can hold, if you have the looting sword selected while there are mobs being killed by the Trident Killer, it acts as though the looting effects were applied when those mobs die. So it's like the best way to get good drops and rates for most mob farms in Bedrock Edition. It's something that Java Edition, as far as I understand it, does not have, but Java Edition has Sweeping Edge as a sword enchantment. And Sweeping Edge means when you have a bunch of things all standing next to each other, you can swipe once and it hits all of them. On Bedrock, we don't have that. So Trident Killers are the best way to apply the looting effect to mobs that we're killing in farms, versus in Java Edition, you might like have all the mobs end up in a little spot where you can then just swipe them all at once and just like kill a bunch of them with one swing and have looting applied. Oh, right. But to your question, does the Trident actually stay there forever? It should. There is a bug that has persisted for literal years now, which is really annoying, where every once in a while, the tridents will just vanish from Trident Killers. And what's happening, I guess, is that they're like, somehow when the world is loading, they're like, they fall down slightly and then suddenly they're inside like the ground, and then they just fall through to the void and just like are gone forever, which is really annoying. And they have said that they fixed it a bunch of times, and it seems to still happen sometimes. So hopefully they'll eventually really fix that. But it seemed better lately. Fingers crossed. So we'll see. Please mind that emerald in your cave spider battle hole. It's evil to leave that there. I think you're right. I think we shouldn't be leaving unmined emerald ore, the rarest of all ores, by the way. We got some redstone too. Yeah, no, it would be totally evil to leave that there and not mine it out right now, right? Maybe someday. All right, sightlines. We're going back to sightlines. So anyway, the point of even going over here and looking at the spider cave and all of that is, are there other sightlines that I care about over here? And like, I don't think so, not really. I think the trees blocking things here are kind of good. I think this tree probably needs to be surgically removed from its twin here, but generally, like, maybe this one should look cool. Like, yeah, this should look cool. But also there's like not much over here. Like, there's really not much reason to come this way. The only reason really to come this way right now is to go here. You can kind of get a view there. And then if you keep going this way, you get to see like the ship. And then this leads down to my skulk farm, which I affectionately like to call the spooky hole. That emerald will haunt your dreams now. I'm sure it will. So I'm not too worried about putting a sightline guy over here. Like maybe here. But I think that having the guy up there will kind of cover this angle a little bit. So the other one that I actually really care about, and something else that I want to kind of talk about a bit, is something else that I've been thinking in terms of a path from spawn. So when you come from spawn, you walk along this path here. So here I am, you know, I awoke at world spawn. I'm walking towards the castle. I've taken the left at the fork in the road and I'm headed over here. There's the castle. Oh, look at that castle. That is just gray. No, I'm too harsh on myself. There's a world in which I might have built this castle with more texturing from afar, but I didn't have that skill, and frankly, don't really yet still. So, but I do think it looks really cool. The shapes and like the different the points and things really make it stand out on the horizon, which I think is kind of cool. But coming down here, there's this little spot right here where I started to make a path out this way. And this is something else that I want to do. I think this whole stream is just going to be me wandering around and talking about stuff that we want to do in this world. Because realistically, we'll see how far I actually get in terms of building anything. But basically, seeing that SpongeBob appear out of the render distance fog like a Silent Hill monster is always hilarious. It is so scary. It's actually a little bit sad and like disappointing how the SpongeBob in the distance is way scarier than what is meant to be like a spooky looking vampire castle thing and like a spooky village that I've been like trying to make scary kind of. And like, you know, there's like, oh, the world gate with its like vampire wings vibe, right? But no, SpongeBob, the real eldritch horror of this world. I'm also running out of rockets. I need to stock up. But anyway, what I was saying was there's like this little path here that branches off. Am I going to be able to find it now? Yeah, I think it's back here. So like right around here, I want to do another little fork in the road. And I want to have a path that leads this way. And like, you know, this would be more of a subtle path probably. But there's like some cool stuff that's over here. There's like this little pool thing, which could be something. I don't know, like could be something. But then, you know, it keeps going this way. And then the idea is that you get to see kind of like you see this the bridge, like that trade route that leads to the World Gate. Like I think this is a pretty cool sightline. And honestly, like that through there is kind of a cool sightline too, right? Like that could be like that either needs to be like a really intentional sightline of like a factory in the distance kind of thing, or I gotta just like put a bigger tree there because that I got one of these little dinky trees. They should not there should not be spruce trees that look like that. That's the stupidest looking tree I ever saw. So anyway, probably a bridge here so we can cross here and like go under this. And like, I think this is fun. Something that I like to do, I think it generally is fun, is like everything that we build should have different ways of interacting with it from different angles. And so this bridge thing, I don't know even what you want to call it. It's like it's a road almost. Like there should also be a thing that goes underneath it, like a little path that goes underneath it. Q-tip trees. Q-tip trees. That's perfect. Q-tip trees are beautiful. Q-tip trees deserve love too. So I guess that's where my torch path ends. But basically coming through here, and I think I would need to do something with some of these trees. But like this is kind of a nice area and there's not really much going on here. But you can imagine having a path that like goes through here. And then once it comes out from behind this cliff, you get another kind of cool sightline. And I got to get rid of some of these ferns and stuff. But right here, in fact, let me clear these out. I'm going to put a sightline fella right here because this is an important one too. And it's one that I want to be thinking about because even though there's nothing developed here, I just lost that armor stand forever, didn't I? That's not it. Okay, where are you? Okay, oh, there you are. Okay, let's make these things before I lose it permanently. One of those, one of those, one of those, one of those, one of these. All right. One of those, one of those, one of those. One of those, one of these. Nice. There he is. Okay, so, and it's my bedtime again. Where's my bed? Did I leave it over there? Oh man. So this is another sightline. I think probably clearing out some of these trees, especially this Q-tip tree right here. That's gonna be necessary. But I have some interesting ideas for that. Where's my bed? Oh, is it in my end? Did I just put it away where it belongs? Yeah, of course. I should have known. That was smart of me. That was very responsible of me. Hide and seek with an invisible armor stand is a hell of a concept. Yeah, right. It's, this is the funny trade-off of having the invisible armor stands is that, like, generally awesome because I can do all sorts of fun things with them, but it is challenging when I lose them, which happens sometimes. Let me grab some more rockets before I am completely rocketless. Thankfully, I have rockets in my pocket. Okay, so where was I? Over here. Right? Here's this guy. Yeah, perfect. Cool. So this is another sightline that is going to matter. And this one is kind of interesting because what I want to do is I want to pollute this pond. If this is going to be a giant brick industrial revolution era factory complex, which frankly, it's going to be a very delicate needle to thread to have an industrial revolution era factory directly next to a vampire style castle. But the idea is that like we found the castle, we took the castle over, and we continued to be industrious and expand our technological horizons and industrial horizons around it. So I think there's a balance to be found there, but I do think that there's something that is doable. And I want this factory to be just pumping this river full of toxic waste, industrial sludge, because this is a creeper hole. What happened over here? This area needs some love. But there's this very cool thing, which is that for some reason, I think this is just because of like different updates and like the changes to the biomes and stuff. But you can see there's like this river here that has this bright blue, nice looking water. But then right here, it's like kind of green. It's like, it's a little bit more gross looking. And that's just one of these Minecraft things that's just like lucky and delightful, because there's a world in which I think, like, especially if like the bed of the river or pond or whatever this is was a color that could show it more clearly. Like, there is kind of a discoloration of the water here. And I like the idea that like this area has factories and stuff, and then like pipes or something coming out of this otherwise pretty flat, unremarkable wall, where like this could be part of the factory complex, and like have pipes coming out of here, maybe even like going into some kind of holding tank or like processing facility thing here. And I've been looking at some concept art and trying to get inspired. There's like so many ideas, and it's going to be very difficult to execute on them, but like I think it's possible. Because then if it's dumping waste into this river, it makes this discoloration of this water like have a reason, which I think is really cool. And it means that when you're walking along here, past the Q-tip tree, of course, when you're coming along here from that way, you can look here and just see like, oh, there's the castle up there, sure. And like maybe even some trees here blocking that view to really focus on this. But like, oh, this water is not water that I want to mess around with too much, because there's clearly something getting dumped in here that's not great. You could probably terraform to cover up the blue river and leave the lake for the pipes of pollution. That's an interesting idea. I think like it's almost kind of cool that you can see the change. Like, you know, maybe there's like pipes coming out that are like above the water and like come and land here, right? And then like if there's waste being dumped out here, then it's like, oh, that kind of makes sense that the greenness is like spreading out this way. And so it could look cool, maybe. I think there's potential, but it's going to be a challenging balance to find again. But then like from here, again, just kind of thinking more aspirationally, like there's a factory, there's like a pond thing or something, but then you can keep heading this way, go past it, and then like this is over here, over this little ridge, is kind of like the only real beach that I have in this world. And this is a disaster. So I definitely need to do something about this. But this is kind of cool because it's like actually kind of a nice little beach area. I mean, it's not a beach, clearly. It's all grass at the moment, but like it could be a beach, and it's not too close to the rest of the stuff. And there is a shipwreck out there that was just natural, which is kind of fun too. And then I think like right over here or something, there's like a coral reef that's kind of close too. So I think there's potential for this area too. I clearly haven't started doing anything over here. And I think that doing this will inspire me to keep expanding outward, because that's kind of something that I've noticed with myself and just the way that building this world has gone, is that like when we build, you know, a nether portal out here, it's like, okay, well, I want to connect that up. I want a path that leads to the world spawn. I want a path that leads here. Like, I like having all these distinct areas connected, SpongeBob aside, of course. Wait, you actually can't see him from, oh, never mind. There he is. Terrifying. You could probably use the invisible item frames to have dead fish decoration around the pollution pond. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. There's a little trick that I saw that would probably work where like if you put a glass pane in the water, you could maybe put an item frame on top of it and you wouldn't really be able to see the glass pane too much, but then the item frame on top of it could have a fish in it, like just floating on the surface. I think that could be really cool. I think that's a good idea. So yeah, I think that's probably the last real sightline I want to think about too much when it comes to starting to scaffold this out. But let's see. Let me just make sure I'm not missing anything obvious. Like there's this whole area. Like I don't even know. Like there's this giant peninsula here, which I have absolutely no plan for. There's this crazy area, which is like, I kind of like almost already looks like Pirate Cove-y a little bit. And like the ship's right there, like maybe this is the Pirate Cove where the, piglin, like the zombified piglin pirate invaders are like coming from. Of course, it is kind of silly. Like you wouldn't really need a ship that big to go from here to there, but everything's a little bit, you could play fast and loose with the laws of reality in Minecraft. Hey guy, how'd you get down there? Well, I'm not going to help you. The other thing I want to do out here is like a lighthouse probably up here. This was an attempt at it's like a little mob spawner or like a mob farm that was meant to drop mobs down so I could get mob heads by striking them with lightning. It doesn't really work consistently, but I think that's probably going to be the idea. Is like take something like that, turn it into like a lighthouse, maybe have a little like lighthouse house here too. And then all these things that weren't visible in the distance before and now are. It's really changing the way that I interact with this world. And I think it's a good challenge to have, but that's like that's a squid farm out there. Pirate Cove. I like pirates. I think pirates are fun and cool, in the kind of like romantic fictional sense, at least. The other thing that we've kind of been thinking about for this area for a long time is like having two big statues of me and the other guy who like founded this world with me. But turns out it's really hard to make good looking statues of Minecraft skins. So that's a project that has lingered for a million years. But you can start to see that I like put a little bit of a crashed ship, like, a little bit of the same thing here. Like you can imagine maybe one of them crashed here and like that's the one that they've been taking apart and using to build the tents and stuff. So much to do. So much to do. This is the 40-year world after all. That's the name of the world, is the 40-year world, just because it's a little bit of a joke that I will be spending 40 years of my life in here. Hopefully more, frankly. So yeah, that's kind of the plans. I think in terms of sightlines, that mostly does it. Actually, let me just look here. Can you see the industrial stuff at all? Yes, maybe from right there. And certainly you'll be able to see whatever part of the roller coaster that is. But I think this is hidden enough that I don't have to worry about it too much. So really, when I'm thinking about building these structures, we've got one at the ship, 2 is right here, 3 is over here, right when you come out, right? And then the 4th one is all the way over here when you are walking through here. But that actually makes me think that this like trade route, like this spot, should probably have one too, because this is a huge, oh yeah, this is an important one. This is a really important one. All right, we're making another dude. Yeah, let's put a guy here, because I think this is actually a really important angle. And maybe that tree needs to go, because it might be cool to be able to see it. And if it's like, you're coming from the world gate, you're bringing your stuff. It's like, oh, where's it all going? This path leads over there ultimately. And so being able to see where you're headed, where you're taking stuff could be pretty cool. All right, let's make 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we'll put a guy right here, just looking out. All right. Now I won't forget about that. Hopefully. Cool. All right, so when I was thinking and planning what I might do in today's stream, I had all sorts of grand plans about how I was going to play around with some color palettes and stuff and like start to outline these buildings. Didn't do that, clearly. And I think that's okay. I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, especially when I know that I'm not going to make a ton of progress on this right now. So I think this has kind of been the amount of like food for thought that I wanted to do. And like I said, this was always going to be a little bit shorter of a stream today, but hey, SpongeBob, but just so that we can have a little bit more interest before we get out of here, I'm going to head back to the spaceship one more time because that's where my outro transition video has to happen from. But Glue, as always appreciate you joining for these. Anybody else who's been lurking, love to have you here. So glad that you've joined for this. Hopefully this has been somewhat interesting. This was very much just like a brainstorming, kind of an ideation session more than anything else. I think this is going to be the start of a long process for sure. But a big part of that process is just formalizing the ideas a little bit and making sure that I have some sense of what I want to do. So next time, and maybe I'll have a little bit of this thought about before next time, but next time what I want to do is one of two things. One is start to experiment with color palettes and things and start to think about how I can make like brick structures that also don't feel totally out of place in that industrial area in the way that it is now, right? The other thing, let me take off my pumpkin for a second. The other thing is I want to do this in a very thoughtful way. There's a reason that I went and laid out all those sight lines today. And that's because I don't want to just start building something and just be committed to it and have then realized that it looks bad from any of those angles. So like putting down those 5 specific spots that I want to specifically go and make sure it look good is an important part of what this process is going to be. And I think the next step is going to be like starting to lay out some general outlines, right? Like maybe using just stone or dirt or even just like what bricks I do have. That emerald better be mine to collect it, I swear. That's really funny. Right, I want to put out some outlines. I want to like get some frames in and make sure that every step of the way from all the different sight lines, they are actually looking interesting. Then I can start to actually put in some more detailing, and not even detailing, but just like base textures, base colors and stuff like that. Then start to do more close-up detailing and all that kind of thing. So this is going to be a process that goes on for a while, but it's also been something that I've been wanting to do for a while. And this is the motivation that I need to do it, is having built that moss farm, having been spending more time in the industrial area and like getting excited about it again and really wanting to tie that stuff together because it's a very big and important part of the world. And like, I think it's time. So that's going to be that. And that'll be our journey, our adventure. I'm excited. I hope that you all are excited for that too. I hope it's going to be interesting. It's going to be definitely a big learning process for me, because with the castle, I pretty much just started building it and then just had to deal with the decisions that I made and try to make other things that fit in, that didn't look totally terrible, and like eventually came together in a cohesive way. And the reality is, I think that there's some angles of the castle that look better than others. I think there's some parts of it that if I really planned it all out from the beginning, I might have done a little bit differently. But I'm happy with the way it is. And again, tour video coming soon. But it's time to take a bit of a more methodical approach, I think, for the industrial area, and for really making those farms, which I spend a fair amount of time just standing in there, like AFK or otherwise, but just like getting resources, standing in the middle of that area. So I want to make sure that it feels really nice to be in there. So that's the plan. That's the goal for the next few weeks and potentially even months. We'll see how long it takes. The inspiration tends to strike me, and when it does, I tend to hammer away. So like, it's very possible that next time there will be a bunch that I've done, but I'm also going to try and focus this weekend on finishing up the castle tour video. So that's the plan. Thank you all for joining me. I really appreciate it. And with my pumpkin head on, I am Will Awake. Thank you so much for joining for the stream, and I'll catch you next time. So long.